What's your emergency?
Welcome back to That Weewoo Show, a podcast where we watch and discuss episodes of the ABC show 911. I'm Ellen.
I'm Alice.
And I'm Bex.
And we are back in season 5. Apologies, a couple of weeks. Sometimes life just kicks us all up the butt and we can't make a time to get together and do this, but we're back.
Well, Bex went to a K-pop
we're
concert.
back.
I went to G-Flip, and then, a puppy happened. So
A puppy. Yay,
a puppy happened. We have a new Weewoo Show family member.
Yay. So if you hear yip yip in the background, it might be.
Yeah, it's not
Hudson.
always autumn this time anymore. Autumn has a new younger brother named Hudson.
Yay.
And
He's
I've had him for
fluffy.
just over a week. So
And yes, he is named for who you think he is named for.
I don't know what you're talking about. Hudson's such a common name that's, could come from anywhere.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, thank you for sticking with us and coming back and listening to our episodes after a break. Thank you to everyone who's been commenting on our posts and sharing our social media stuff. We love you. Thank you. Before we get stuck into episode 13, Alice, you want to remind us what happened last time we spoke about 911?
Yeah, so 3 months ago. Last time on 911, we followed Chimney and Maddie to Boston, where they finally reunited.
Yay, they're back.
They're back. It feels whole again.
Yes.
This week, we are going to discuss episode 13 of season 5, and it literally just clicked that the episode called Fear-o-Phobia is the 13th episode.
Oh, of course it is.
Oh,
Didn't even think of that.
No, neither did I until I'm staring at the notes.
It didn't air on a Friday the 13th or anything, did it?
No, it aired Monday, April 11th. But
Oh, it used to air on Monday. That's so strange.
It would have been absolutely perfect if it aired Friday the 13th. But no, it is at least the 13th episode.
Yes.
So, an episode called Fear-o-Phobia. It is, of course, about everybody facing their fears or fearful things. The official promo that was released says that in this episode, Athena investigates a robbery at a gas station that takes an unexpected turn when the would-be victim turns the tables on her assailant. Oh, we're getting a full summary this week. Meanwhile, Bobby and the 126. What the fuck is up with the 126? It's the 118. It's just 118 plus Lucy. She's now with the 118. So I'm going to start that sentence again. Meanwhile, Bobby and the 118 race to rescue a novice diver who panics while in a shark cage, and a house sitter terrified of spiders. I don't agree with that last part, though. Then Eddie reaches his breaking point. Chim returns to the 118. Maddie shares some news with Buck, who realizes he has to come clean with Taylor. And we don't need to do the rest of this episode because the summary is just
that's
gone through
that's
all
everything.
Of it
Yeah,
pretty
that's
much.
it. That's the episode. Good night. See you next time, guys. Glad our episode back was a whole 6 minutes.
Was it worth waiting 2 weeks for? I don't know.
Wait for the bloopers where we discussed Yellow Jackets for longer than we discussed the episode.
They listed all the things in the wrong order though, because Eddie reaches his breaking point at the end of the episode, but Chimney returns to the 118 at the beginning, and Maddie sharing some news with Buck is also the beginning.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, okay. So that's the other thing that's wrong with the summary. It gets key plot points incorrect, and it also gets the order wrong.
We're just picky today.
I am. My soapbox is parked and ready.
Oh dear. Okay.
Full disclaimer, we watched this episode 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
No. 2 longer. It has to be
Longer?
I
2 weeks ago.
No. I watched this episode on the plane home from ATs.
Wasn't that
And
2
that
weeks ago?
was Nope. Oh yes, okay, 6th and 7th. So alright. Damn, that was only 2 weeks ago?
That was 2 weeks ago.
It's been a long
Yep.
couple of weeks.
It's been a long couple of weeks.
Yeah, so we watched this episode 2 weeks ago. We did plan to rewatch it We did not rewatch it. This episode is going to
Who
be...
planned to rewatch it? I was going to go off my notes because...
Oh, me and Ellen, absolutely. But you write notes, so you remember things a bit better.
That's okay, we'll remember it.
We will.
If we start talking about the pit instead, just ignore us, because...
Well, perhaps discussing the triggers will trigger your memory of what happens in this episode, because in this episode, if you have not already watched it and you need a little bit of an idea of whether you actually do want to watch this episode or not, you could experience... Well, no, you yourself are not going to experience bleeding from the eyes and ears and nose, but there will be a depiction of somebody bleeding from the eyes and ears and nose, claustrophobia, depression, so my so far favourite trigger of this season, which is dolphins, flashbacks to
so
moment of child at threat, flashbacks to war, panic attacks, PTSD, severe decompression sickness, see above bleeding from the eyes and ears and nose, spiders, specifically tarantulas, depictions of therapy, threat of gun violence, threat of self-immolation, threat of suicide via jumping, and spider webs.
I did ask Nikki, who does our triggers, why dolphin was a trigger, and she's like, I have no idea. I have no memory of this. Maybe someone asked me to add it, and I'm like, sure, why not? So yeah, dolphin.
I mean, there's no shark. Like,
I think
no shark
from memory, when we were discussing Boston, and at the end of Boston we were going through this episode, and I did sort of go, why dolphin, why not shark? But I think it's because there is no actual depictions of sharks.
Yeah, there is no shark. Yeah, it is
a dolphin.
Yeah.
But yes, just in case, you are highly reactive to dolphins, please be aware there is a dolphin that will be shown on screen at some point.
Right. I'm sure there's
not
someone
first
out
up, though. First up, we are going to reunite the Buckley siblings and Chim and his best friend.
The paramedics?
Yeah, let's go with that. The Buckley siblings and the paramedics. And it's one of those really fun scenes where both the Buckley siblings and the paramedics are having the same conversation, so we're cutting back and forth between the two sort of locations and getting to get the full picture.
I love when they do this well. And they do it well a lot. Like, it is one of their strengths when they do it properly. It's quite good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so cute. Like, Buck is so excited to see Maddie.
Yeah. This whole scene is actually a bit of emotional whiplash, because I was so excited that they were back, and that Buck was excited to see Maddie, and Hen was so excited to see Chim. And then we get, the revelations.
The bombshell, yeah.
Yes, because while Hen has gone to Chim's apartment and Maddie has gone to Buck's apartment, Maddie is not going to be returning to Chim's apartment because they broke up.
Yeah. I was like, no. I mean, if I didn't already know what was happening later in the series,
literally,
I would have been so sad.
I watched this episode the day after their wedding episode aired. And I was like, if I hadn't known, like, I would be so mad right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they broke up. It's very sad. Maddie says they realized somewhere around St. Louis that it was over. And, well, Buck asks, after everything you've been through, Chim says all those other times they were apart, it always felt like it was outside forces, ex-husbands, paramedics, pandemics, sorry. Paramedics. Let me try that again. All those other times we were apart, it always felt like it was outside forces. Ex-husbands, pandemics. I almost fucking said it again. This time it feels like the call's coming from inside the house.
Or as Maddie puts it, simply, they grew apart. Or they grew in different directions while they were apart.
Buck immediately jumps to Maddie's defense and is like, it sounds like he's punishing you for being sick. And Maddie's like, no. It's a mutual decision. Together. This is what's best. There's no punishing. Don't be mad at Chim. Where Buck says he does still owe him a punch in the face. Meanwhile, Chim and then Chim's like, yeah, I already apologized to Buck. Everything's fine. It's fine. I'm so ready to get back with the team.
Yeah, and Hen's like, things are a little different from when you left.
I love this as well. So while Maddie goes, Eddie quit, Chim goes, Bobby replaced me? And then you asked Taylor to move in with you?
And Buck made out with the new firefighter.
Buck made out with the new firefighter. Oh, Hen is just like, Chimney, here is the tea.
Which apparently Buck told Maddie about, because she's like, wow. Like,
yeah. So yeah, simultaneously, Hen is spilling the tea and Chim is loving it, but also Buck is just like, fucked up.
And Chim's response to all of this was, wow, you guys just totally fell apart without me.
Yeah, fair.
But it's true, they did.
It's true.
They absolutely did. Oh.
So we go to the title card.
Right, we better go and actually have an emergency. It was so lovely to see them back again.
That's such a dumb emergency, but sure.
Yeah, so we have... I don't even know if we find this guy's name. Nope, he never gets a name. Basically, we have a dude who has signed up for a shark cage encounter. Those things where you go down in a cage and you swim with sharks, except they're outside the cage and you're inside the cage for your safety and theirs.
It's like the diving cage sort of thing.
He doesn't look entirely convinced about the whole situation.
Nope.
He's like nitpicking through the terms and conditions and the disclaimers, and but when the tour guide says, look, you don't have to do this, it kind of shames him into, well, actually, yes, I do, and he signs the paperwork. So they get him on the boat, they get him in a scuba tank.
I like how at first he goes, I thought I was safer in the cage than freediving, and the guy's like, you are, and he goes, well, is there anything safer than the cage? And the dude's like, land? Like,
yeah.
This is the cage. This is safe. Like, just get in. So anyway, they get him in. They chuck some meat into the water to attract the sharks.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So we get a little bit of training on how to use the get out of jail, the emergency button. So the diver is going to have an emergency button that if he presses it, it'll inflate his vest and it will bring him up to the surface. But it's only for use in emergency, and it's only for use sort of within the cage, because the cage is going to be not that far under the water, maybe only 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to note.
Yeah, and he also says, under no circumstances should you ever leave the cage, okay? You got that? Never leave the cage, okay? Okay, thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, fine. Let's do it.
So he goes. Our poor diver goes into the cage with his like buddy diver, and the cage gets lowered into the water, and we get the point of view from the diver, and he's not having a great time. His vision is obscured by the goggles. He can hear like the hiss of the oxygen in his ears. We can hear his heart thumping. He is very, very scared. And then in the distance, he sees this shape coming towards him through the water.
Yeah.
And he freaks the fuck out. We, as the audience, can see that it's just a friendly dolphin who's come to see what the stupid humans are doing now.
It's literally just a dolphin.
In no way does it look anything like a shark. It's a dolphin. But either the diver doesn't know that, or he just sees something moving very fast through the water towards him and is already like at peak anxiety, and he flips the fuck out. He tries to get out of the cage, and in doing so manages to unhook the cage from the cable that is basically it's hanging from in the water, and so the cage plummets to the bottom of the seafloor.
Yes, which is really, really bad for A, for panicking people, and B, for the dive experience in general.
Yeah, like
They
it was
can't
only
be that
supposed to be
deep.
quite shallow, but now it's
Yeah.
gone real deep really quickly.
Yes. Which would normally, it probably wouldn't be that bad because our panicking diver has his buddy diver with him, except when his buddy diver tries to get him to calm down, he punches his buddy diver, knocks
Punches
the
him in the
respirator
face.
from
Like,
his
what
mouth.
the fuck?
And so while the buddy diver is desperately trying to get his oxygen back, our intrepid diver swims to the top of the cage, gets out, and then immediately presses his get out of jail free button, which whooshes him up to the surface. Except that's not what you want to do when you were that far down.
No. Absolutely
No.
not.
Because we see what happens to our poor dude. He is the poor victim that's going to have the blood flowing from his eyes and ears and nose, because he's.
It's actually interesting. Like they depict it and they tell people that it's, I don't remember what they actually call it, decompression sickness or whatever.
Sickness.
But they don't explain what that means at all. Like they just, which normally they would. I'm guessing that we all know what decompression sickness actually is, but no one explains what that is. Like if you've never been diving before, there's a good chance you don't understand what's actually happening here.
Maybe
there's enough
banking
of it around.
Yeah, maybe they're banking on it being so prevalent in pop culture that everybody understands. They don't understand the science behind it, but they do know that you don't come up super fast. Otherwise, it's going to be bad, which it is. So the tour guide calls 911. Very helpfully tells the operator that he came up way too fast, which is, a great transition from the diver coming back up to the surface and moving into the 118 arriving, but not at all helpful as a 911 call.
Whoa, you okay?
Hudson?
He just fell into
I think we lost Alice.
No, he just fell into a box. And while he was trying to get up, he was just like flailing and kicking it.
Puppies.
Are you okay? It was fine. It was literally just like a light sort of thing. But he was just like, what the fuck was that?
So was I.
The 118, of course, get dispatched.
Oh, yes.
And everything seems to be going okay. Bobby orders Buck and Lucy, who are immediately like smooshed together like Buck and Eddie. It's now one word, Buck and Lucy, to help tie off the boat so that the 118 can get on board and help. So both Buck and Lucy move to follow orders at the same time and then just recoil like they're like magnets.
Yeah, Buck's just like, ah!
So
and Lucy,
awkward.
and he's like very politely, excuse me, I'm going to go this way. Lucy looks at him like he's a crazy person.
Which, yeah, he's kind of acting like a crazy person.
This is kind of Lucy's episode to shine, because we find out that she used to work in a dive shop, so she immediately recognizes the decompression sickness, and can explain to Hen and Jonah why this poor guy's eyes not only are bleeding but are like protruding from his skull, like his head has been squeezed like a watermelon. And she's the one who comes up with a solution for the problem that is that the medevac can't get to the pier to pick up their guy in time to save him. They are apparently in the middle of transporting a patient. They'll be there in 15 minutes. Lucy says he's not going to survive in 15 minutes. They need to get him into a a hyperbaric chamber ASAP.
Fucking Jonah, though. So Lucy's like, he'll be dead before he sees the inside of a chamber. And Jonah goes, oh, so what do we do? Tag him and go grab a smoothie? Like, what?
It's like, that's really unfeeling. Bit callous there, Jonah.
Yeah,
I mean, to go meet his
the 118 can be a little bit irreverent at times, but that's
insane.
Far.
Yeah,
that's pretty dark. Yeah. But Lucy suggests that she could take him back down and bring him up properly, and Bobby's like, no, that's way too risky. And then they decide. He says it's too risky. We need to get him in a chamber, and Lucy's like, we could build one faster than the ambulance is going to take to get here. And then the lights go on above their heads.
Because apparently Lucy saw a diver do it once. And quite conveniently, the pier that the Shark Experience tour is operating out of is near fish markets, which have freezers, which, seal very, very well. So they're going to use a fish freezer as a hyperbaric chamber. They're going to put our poor diver inside, close the door, seal it, and then suck all of the oxygen out of the room, and then slowly start to repressurize it.
No, they put more oxygen in. They put more air into the room and raise the pressure.
Maybe it's just because Jonah goes in with him that it's my wishful thinking that they suck all the oxygen out of the room.
Yeah, no, it's the other way around. As long as they do it gradually, reduce it again gradually, then everyone should be fine.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Plenty of oxygen in there.
Yes. So Jonah goes in to monitor. He basically just hangs out there watching the pressure readings and reading off vitals to Bobby every 10, 15 minutes. I don't know. The cutting, it's obviously there is a time progression in this where they show Jonah and the diver going in and then the pressure doing whatever the pressure's meant to be doing and the guy getting better, but they're not especially good in this scene of showing how long they've been in there. It seems like only a couple of seconds between the first set of readings and then the second set of readings.
Yeah. I'm not even sure how they go about helping someone that does have the bends. It's do you just put their pressure back up and then they're fine? Is there more? I feel like there should be more involved. But anyway, they're not in a hospital, so they can't do anything else, really.
I can't even be bothered looking up to see what the science is behind the hip bends and decompression sickness. So if you,
I hope I never have to find out.
Well, no, scuba diving is not really on my bucket list, with or without sharks.
Oh,
and or dolphins.
Scuba diving is the best. It is excellent. But
I can go snorkeling, but I don't think I'm actually legally allowed to go scuba diving because of my asthma.
Oh. Yeah, it's quite a claustrophobic feeling to be under so far under the water breathing through a tube. But yeah, I loved it the few times I did it. It was so good. I would go again, but I don't know if I could do it now. I'm too old, I don't swim too good. They asked, they're sort of saying, I don't know what made him freak out like that. There were no sharks around. And then the patient guy actually wakes up and tells them that he has a phobia of sharks. So he's trying to get rid of it by doing immersion therapy.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, sure.
Clearly worked a treat. Nearly killed yourself doing it. And there weren't even any sharks involved.
I find it fascinating, and I'll talk about this more at the end of the episode, that this whole episode is about people facing their fears, and it doesn't work out for any of them. Okay,
no, but also, why, what does he do in life that he has to get over his fear of sharks? Just don't go in the water.
Yeah.
It's
don't go to the aquarium.
It's not it's a fear of humans or birds or stuff that you encounter day to day. It's sharks. I haven't seen a shark outside of the aquarium ever.
And he just doesn't need to go to the beach. He just doesn't need to go swimming. Stick to pools. and indoor swimming areas.
I don't know. Have you seen Jaws? Like, there's some pools that have sharks in them. Anyway.
Just don't go to the pool. Like, nothing, there's no life-threatening thing. Maybe he's a lifeguard and it's just really like...
No, but why would you go into that line of work if you had a fear of...
This is what I'm saying. I don't understand. Like, it's just...
Maybe he developed his fear of sharks while being a lifeguard.
It's very much, we just need people to have fears. And what are, like, we surveyed 100 people on the street. Top answers on the board. What are you afraid of? Like,
survey says sharks.
Survey says sharks and spiders.
Ding.
So we're going to do storylines about people being scared of sharks and spiders.
Yep.
Yeah.
But apparently, according to Hen, the only thing to fear is crazy people. I don't know what that means.
And this... No,
I
but
would
this
also be scared of this weird.
This transition is so wild because it goes. The only thing to be afraid of is crazy people, and then we immediately transition to Eddie in therapy with Frank.
Yeah,
and the juxtaposition between crazy people and then Eddie in therapy.
What are you saying, Hen?
What are you saying, 911? What are we saying about Eddie's character? Eddie is crazy.
Eddie is scary.
Apparently.
But I mean, I'm guessing that Buck is supposed to be like the only thing to fear is fear itself, would be the quote that he's going for.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Hen is being all snarky and changing that. But yeah, so we leave the shark encounter and we go to Eddie in therapy where Frank is asking him, what are you afraid of?
Oh, Eddie doesn't look well, does he? He's got big dark circles under his eyes.
So this is... We didn't really get to see a lot of Eddie last week because he was not in Boston, but the last time we saw him, he had realised that he'd fundamentally fucked up in leaving the 118 and going to dispatch because that was not what Christopher wanted at all, and he is miserable. So he went back to the 118, went back to Bobby to basically beg for his job back, and Bobby said, you are in no fit shape to be at the 118, go get your head squared away. And so this is like Eddie's attempt.
Yeah, we don't
and then
like
Eddie was
people.
like, fuck you, Bobby. Remember how you killed all those people?
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Hurt people. So Eddie absolutely lashed out and hit Bobby exactly where he knew it would hurt him the most. Which, funnily enough, did not make Bobby change his mind and welcome Eddie back with open arms.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't even remember that this was Frank that we'd seen him before. It's been so long since we've seen him.
Yeah, I was like, obviously, I know who Frank is, but I was like, has Eddie done, like, have we seen Eddie do therapy, or is this the first time? But we have before, haven't we?
Yes, he's met Frank before.
Yeah. And we've met Frank, yeah.
We've met Frank before. Frank is like the only therapist for the 118, apparently. Unless you're Buck and then you go and you get private therapy. It's been
ages. Like, the last people, like, I don't think Athena or her family went to Frank at all, but I don't even remember who it would have been before.
I'm thinking that Frank is like the LAFD's therapist because he was seeing Buck for a little while, he was seeing Eddie, and he was seeing Hen.
Maybe he also had that little montage.
He was also seeing Maddie because he took Maddie to Big Bear. So I don't know how we work out that Maddie gets included in that.
Yeah, okay. That was a long time ago.
No, it was a long time ago, but I think maybe that was the last time we saw Frank.
Possibly.
But anyway, Eddie is trying to evade all of Frank's questions because his response to, so what are you afraid of? Eddie's like, well, that's a pretty open-end question. I mean, I don't love going to the dentist. And Frank's like, yeah, I don't think going to the dentist is why you blew up at Bobby. But then he refuses to say why he did blow up at Bobby.
So therapy's going well.
So Frank
He
tries
doesn't want to
another
be
tact.
there.
He really does not want to be there, and it's funnily enough, even though he says he's afraid of the dentist, getting answers out of him is like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
So Frank sort of avoids talking about Eddie's feelings and starts doing the small talk and like, how's Christopher? You know, I know how much you worry about him. I'm glad to hear that he's doing well. And Eddie's like, hackles start to raise, like, is it a bad thing that I worry about my son? And Frank's like,
calm down,
no.
Eddie.
No, it's not. It's just that you seem to worry about everybody else before you worry about yourself. Maybe you need to face your own pain rather than managing everybody else's.
Yeah. And Eddie thinks that pain is nothing but weakness leaving the body.
To be fair, he said that was what his old drill sergeant used to say, but yes, you can tell that he's internalized that. That pain is weakness. So Frank tells him that Eddie can't just stuff all of his feelings into a box, because there's no box in the world strong enough to hold all of them. At some point, the box is going to blow open. It's going to take Eddie with it and anybody else that's around Eddie as well. And Eddie's like, so what do I do? Do I just sit here and tell you about every bad thing that's ever happened to me? Which, yes, that's exactly what Frank is there for.
That's what a therapist is for.
That's what a therapist is for. Frank recognizes that that's not going to happen, though, and suggests that perhaps Eddie instead could do some talk therapy with people who already know and understand. So I think part of the trouble is that Eddie would have to explain everything and explain the context, set the scene before he could talk about how he felt and his reactions to everything that's happened. Whereas if he talks to somebody who has already been through all of that, say one of the members of his unit, they could skip all of that and they could just talk about their feelings and how they're reacting and how they're coping. Which is why I think Eddie really needs to be in like therapy through the VA, not specifically talking to Frank. He needs to be talking with other veterans and 2 other veterans who understand what he's going through.
Agreed.
I mean, that's kind of what Frank's suggesting he do, right? Like, not therapy as such, but like talking to other people who understand.
Yeah, but Frank is suggesting it to very specifically talk to the other members of the unit, but I think that outside of talking to other members of the unit, Eddie needs to be in there, talking to other veterans. So not just talking to Frank, he needs to be going to the VA and doing therapy through them. So that, because I think Frank is good at general therapy and sort of helping with the firefighting shit, but I don't know that he's necessarily well equipped to handle post-traumatic stress coming from combat.
Poor Eddie.
But anyway, so he leaves Eddie with that idea. Reach out to the members of your unit. Specifically, he says talk to someone who understands exactly what he went through with that first trauma. As we see later in the episode, that first trauma is specifically the helicopter crash that we saw in Eddie Begins.
Okay, so from Eddie's trauma to Buck.
Buck's trauma?
Buck's trauma, although he's not quite there yet. Taylor has moved in. She's unpacking at his apartment. But she looks in a box and says, oh, that's definitely not kitchen stuff. And so, I don't know, Buck says what we're all thinking, and he's like, I didn't realize you had this much stuff. Like, there's boxes everywhere.
And then Taylor's response is, yes, well, we'll have to cull as we unpack. And I'm like, ma'am, no, that's not how you move. You cull before you pack. Like, what is the point of filling a box full of stuff to move to another house just to get rid of? Just leave it at the first place.
Unless you're in a really big hurry. And they weren't really in a big hurry, I don't think.
Or perhaps if you don't know what you need. But, I mean, you know that you're moving into an established house, so you don't need to pack all of your kitchen stuff unless you're particularly attached to it, because Buck's going to have knives and forks and cups and bowls and things like that. But
She does
the
say
big
we
issue,
probably have 2 of everything. Maybe she paid someone to pack her house up for her.
maybe I
don't
do
know.
love that service. We military families used to bring movers in and they would pack for you, and it was amazing. I loved it. I miss that.
Yeah.
It's not so much the boxes of shit that's the problem, is that Taylor's also brought all of her furniture, including her couch. And
Yeah.
Buck's loft is not equipped to handle 2 couches. And when he asks, well, what are we going to do with 2 couches? Taylor's just nonchalantly, oh, we'll just have to get rid of one. But not the one that they just carried in. Buck is going to have to give up his couch. And I'm going to put a little bit of a pin in this episode, because this is where, have you heard of couch theory for 911?
Yeah. I
This
have,
is
but
where
I have
couch
no
theory-
idea what it is. I'm
not gonna
shied away
explain it.
from it because I felt like
Yeah.
it was spoiler territory.
It's massive spoiler territory, but this is where couch theory starts.
Okay. So she makes him get rid of his couch.
She makes him get rid of his couch, and Buck is like, okay, I guess I'll figure out, maybe someone at the firehouse needs a new couch. And Taylor very strangely says maybe the new firefighter needs one. And I'm
Did
like,
she move house recently as well?
She moved firehouse, but I don't know that she moved actual house, because I don't know how far apart the 118 and the 126 are. I'm pretty sure they must be close if both of them got called to that speed emergency. So I don't feel like Lucy really needs to pack up and move her physical house as well. But it's just a really, really awkward segue to talking about Lucy, and we get to see Buck lose his ever-loving mind as he tries not to talk about Lucy in front of Taylor.
Yeah, he's like really trying to, I don't know, he can't even speak about it. He's like, oh, I wouldn't know. Like we haven't really anything.
It's really
like,
interesting doing the notes, and I can always immediately tell which lines of dialogue, because they're not usually attributed in the transcripts, but I can always tell which lines of dialogue are Buck's, because he stops and starts and stammers and stutters. This scene, there's so many ellipses, because he's just tripping over his words. Can't finish a full sentence.
Bless him.
Worse than usual. But yeah, he's like, oh, the new firefighter, Lucy, I wouldn't know, you know, we haven't really interacted. She's a little, she's a little bold. Yeah, she's a little bold.
Taylor's just like,
looking at him.
Okay, dude. She doesn't know what's going on.
What exactly does that mean, Buck? But she's distracted by the fact that she hasn't so much been unpacking her boxes to unpack, but she's been looking for her keys, which she packed into a box.
Yeah, why would you pack your keys into a box? But sure.
There's so much in this. I mean, there's so much in this episode, which is we just need you to get to this end point. We're not actually going to care how we get there. This scene especially, there's so much of that. Like, we just need you to find your keys, so that you can leave the apartment, so you can return said keys, and so that Buck and Maddie can have a moment to talk about you behind your back.
And we just really need to push home that, like, you don't have a house anymore.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They're having a smoochies, and then Maddie comes in.
Yes.
She's like, is this a bad time?
Not really. Probably, like, saved by the bell. So while the Buckley siblings are catching up yet again, making up for lost time, Chim has returned to work. He's at the station house where he gets an enthusiastic welcome from Ravi.
Ravi's the only one he knows.
Because Ravi's the only one he recognises anymore, because, like, Bobby's changed everything so much. And it seems to be slightly calculated timing to return because, wouldn't you know, he's shown up just in time for lunch. And Bobby's cooking, theoretically, because there wasn't actually a lot of cooking involved.
There was no cooking involved. Yeah.
There, we cut to from Chim's excitement over having Bobby's cooking after all of these months to a plate of beautifully presented nori rolls, because apparently when the 118 commandeered the freezer at the fish market, they became responsible for all of the fish in said freezer.
Yeah, they took it all.
I
Did they have to buy it? Did they just get it?
That was my question. Like, did they just, we'll dispose of this for you, and by dispose of it mean we'll eat it, or we are going to buy out the freezer so that you don't lose any money from us taking this over?
Imagine doing that expense report and the city's just like, why the fuck did you buy a whole market full of fish?
Why is there $2,000 worth of salmon being expensed?
Like if the guy they saved was like a fisherman who worked for the fish market, then maybe they give it to them for nothing. But no, he's just a guy.
From the freezer.
So that's funny.
So yes, the kitchen of the 118 is full of fish, and Bobby is just trying to get everyone to eat as much fish as possible, to the point where Chim turns up his nose at the salmon, and Bobby's like, "Oh, do you want me? I'll cook you something. Just pick a fish, and I'll cook it for you."
Yeah, how do you feel about tilapia? And Hen's like, how does anyone feel about tilapia?
He has salmon, he has snapper, he has flounder, and then he decides that he's going to sear some salmon with a little ginger, with a little lemon and a little garlic, and I would like some seared salmon.
Oh, that sounds
lemon
really
and
good.
ginger.
Can we all come over for that one?
Yes.
Love me some salmon.
I think Bobby's just showing his love and his happiness at seeing Chim again with food.
Oh yeah, then Ravi breaks everyone's heart again by saying, "I'm glad you're back. You seem better. I'm glad you guys worked it out." And Chim's like, "Yeah, we totally did."
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't work anything out, and then we cut to Maddie having her conversation with Buck, and we found out exactly kind of how badly they did not work it out, in that Maddie has returned, which is what everyone wanted, but she doesn't have a place to live, and she doesn't have a job, and she has no money. And Buck starts to feel a little bit guilty because he said, if I'd known you were coming back, I wouldn't have panic asked Taylor to move in with me.
Yeah, and Maddie's like, where were they going to sleep? Like, what?
But then he has to explain to Maddie why he asked Taylor to move in with him. And which was, I did a dumb thing, and I didn't know how to tell Taylor about the dumb thing, so instead I asked her to move in with me, which is an even dumber thing.
Yeah.
And we tie it all up with the theme of the episode, in that Buck, who, unlike Eddie, has continued to go to therapy, and is starting to sort of figure his shit out, even though he does dumb stuff like this. He's at least a little bit self-aware to realize that he did the dumber thing in asking Taylor to move in with him, because he is scared of being left. Everyone always leaves him, so he was trying to prevent Taylor from leaving him, just like everybody else did.
Oh,
which, when you put it that way, it's like, your heart breaks a little bit for Buck.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's such a stupid thing to do.
He's so stupid. Poor little clingy Buck.
Well, he did sort of have a little panic. Like, he was trying to tell her, and then he blurted out the other thing instead.
The fear overrode the honesty.
Bless him.
But then Maddie, being the perceptive big sister that she is, goes, wait, you said that you did a dumb thing. Like, you said that asking Taylor to move in was the dumber thing. What was the dumb thing that precipitated you asking her to move in?
Oh, so Buck must not have told Maddie.
No, I think
Hen told Chim.
Hen told Chim that Buck kissed Lucy. All Buck told Maddie was, I asked Taylor to move in with me.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's sort of confessing his sins. But we don't get to see that conversation. We're going to go back to
because
the
I feel like Maddie could have either like reacted like Hen and just laughed at it. I don't know how Maddie would have reacted, but we don't get to find out, I don't think.
No, we don't get to find out. We get a quick little scene when we return back to the 118 before we go back to Chim, where the new kids on the block, Jonah and Lucy, are kind of eyeing Chim off because he's immediately formed this little clique with Hen and Bobby. They're off sitting together at the kitchen table, at the dining table, eating the seared salmon that Bobby has cooked just for Chim. And Jonah sort of comes over to Lucy and they're sort of watching these two and they go, so that's the infamous chimney. What do you think? Jonah's like, that I should probably start packing. Because he was only ever meant to be a replacement for Chim. And now Chim is back.
Yeah.
His days are numbered.
And even Hen says to him something to that effect, like, I'm not going to get close to you. Like, Chim is my bestie and you're an usurper.
Yeah.
You're Monday.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Literally Monday. Meanwhile, Jonah's like, what about you? And Lucy just goes, I thought he'd be taller.
Because her replacement hasn't returned yet. Her reaction when she meets Eddie is going to be interesting, but she's like, her place is secure at the moment because she's not a paramedic. She's just a firefighter. She's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Chim is not enjoying his seared salmon, which is a complete shame. He is on his phone again. Like ever since he's walked into the firehouse, he's been constantly checking his phone. And Bobby clocks it and asks him, why are you constantly checking your phone? Is everything okay? And Chim's like, yeah, everything's okay. It's just that today is the first day that Maddie's alone with G in over 6 months. And Hen brings it back to the theme of the episode and says, and you're scared. Although what Chim is scared of, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Is he scared for Maddie? Is he scared for G? I don't think they go into detail. It's just like this amorphous fear of his ex-baby mama and his daughter being alone together.
I guess when he's been sole custodian of G for so long, it's hard relinquishing control to someone.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I just wish they'd been a little bit more specific. Like, is it specifically because someone else is looking after G, or is it specifically because it's Maddie looking after G?
Yeah, does he not trust Maddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it would be correct that he's worried about Maddie specifically, like doing something with G or, you know. It feels like that he's trusting her again, but yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing to say. They just needed him to be afraid of something.
They needed him to be afraid, and they didn't actually care what he was afraid of, just that he was afraid. The same with this next scene, which is our spider emergency, because this guy...
This one's so stupid as well.
Like, the summary said, a house sitter who's terrified of spiders. This guy's not terrified of spiders. I don't think
he's not. He thinks it's kind of weird, but like...
He's a little bit freaked out by the giant spiders and the amount that he has to, like, the whole brushing off them to clean them and, like, the almost hand-feeding them. But he's not scared of them. It's just, again, it's like the, top 100 answers survey says what are people most afraid of? Spiders. So if we're going to do an episode about fear, we need to do spiders.
Yeah, I feel like maybe if he was actually arachnophobic, he would not have taken the job, no matter how much the guy was willing to pay him.
Okay, so before we get too far ahead, I really did actually, like, the misdirect is kind of funny in this scene.
Well, because he thinks it's going to be dogs.
Because he thinks it's going to be dogs, yeah. So, like, the way that he talks about them, so, like, the pet sitter comes over, like, he's from an app. He apparently has 5-star reviews, and the client has had a hard time getting anyone to take the job. And the pet sitter, who's Perry, Perry goes, that's weird. Like,
Yes.
it's a beautiful house. You're paying a lot. And I don't know if the owner of the house just didn't actually disclose anything, or was just like, oh yeah, I have like several pets. Because Perry's just like, oh, where are the little cuties? I don't see them running around.
I'm 100% that he's been incredibly ambiguous in his listing, and he's like made it seem like that Perry is coming to look after dogs, but he's never like come outright and said you are looking after dogs. It's an assumption that Perry has made, and Oren is not at all going to disabuse him of that assumption for fear that Perry is not going to stay.
Perry asks like, oh, like I don't see any running around, and Oren goes, no, they're in their cages. I know it sounds old-fashioned, but I'm not a fan of free roaming. And Perry's like, you're smart. Crate training is important for reinforcing good behavior. Crate training is important. Big advocate for crate training. My puppy is currently asleep in his crate. However, not all the time. They should have time out of their crate, unless they're spiders. So Perry asks, how much playtime are your pets used to? And Oren's like, oh, they get plenty of recreation. I used to let them out more often, but they kept running away.
Oh, red flag.
Train them. What are you doing, Oren? So Oren shows Perry to the guest room, and apparently it used to be the kennel, but with all the downtime during the pandemic, he went all out and made each one of his babies their very own state-of-the-art, climate-controlled enviroment. So, like, was the one room just like a big terrarium that had all the spiders in it?
I don't know, but he does
because
actually
that's also
say
not
kennel.
great, because tarantulas will. He does say kennel, yeah. Spiders will fight. Like, that's why you got to keep them apart. Perry even says here, like, lucky pups. And then they walk into another room, and Perry's looking down at the ground for the puppies, and then he sees the terrariums, and he's like, "Oh shit, these aren't dogs."
No.
And he's like, haha, dogs. No. No.
No, the room is full of glass cages. Each cage has its own, like, giant tarantula in them.
Yeah.
And, like, I think if they'd actually had Perry be arachnophobic and actually, like, start freaking the fuck out, but choose the money, because Oren says, like, I will pay you $50 an hour. Which ends up being
he's literally getting $8,400 for the week.
For a week. Yeah. And so Perry's gone, am I going to, like, for $8,400 a week, I can suck it up and I can handle my arachnophobia. I think that would have been more interesting, because he, like, there's this little bit of a, okay, and then immediately goes for the money.
Like, Oren's like, I haven't had a vacation in 6 years. I'll just throw money at you. And Perry's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, cool. I'll take the money.
Sure. Bye-bye. Have a great trip.
But yeah, there's no fear at all. He's just like, okay, this is going to be really fucking weird. But then I can tell that we're going to be friends.
Yeah.
And Perry is just embracing this. Like, he's feeding the spiders, he's writing down
to be fair,
notes.
There's a little... To start with, there's the first time he has to feed the tarantula, he freaks out a little bit, because he has to take the maggot on a pair of, like, really long tweezers and gently place it in the cage, and he kind of just, like, drops it and then slams the cage door shut as quickly as he can. But then as the days pass, he gets more comfortable to the point where, like, he's actually literally playing with the tarantulas.
And he's brushing them with the little brush.
And the whole thing is tracked by, and I forgot to look it up, what is the app in the 911 universe that terrified Eddie, and it runs their coffee machine?
Oh my god, now I'm blanking.
Oh. It's someone's name?
Yeah, the spiders are run... Hildy.
Hildy.
The spiders are, like, he tracks the spiders through, like, a Hildy portal.
Yeah, he's, like, making his notes, making sure that they're all, like, the humidity is right on all of them.
There's alarms that go off to let him know when it's time to feed them. Which is important because it's how Oren realizes something has gone wrong later on.
So Perry is going to bed. I don't know how long it's been. But he's going to bed. He's on the phone to someone. He's like, yeah, it's not so bad. I think I'm actually starting to like the little demons, but I'll call you tomorrow. And then when he turns the light out and starts going to sleep, a tarantula runs across the bed covers.
Ugh, no thank you.
And that's where we get the commercial break.
But see, we never see, like, are we just supposed to assume that they're escape artists and one of them managed to get out of its cage on its own?
Yeah, I have no idea.
We never see Perry leave a door open.
No, I have no idea how they got out. Like,
and that was the whole point of Oran Creek.
Or does he say later that one of them was vanished? Hang on, I'm trying to remember.
No, because there was never any discussion of them escaping out of their cages. Just that they would run away when he let them out of their cages. But yeah, I couldn't understand how the tarantula got out, because Perry, we didn't see him.
No, it doesn't make much sense. Yeah.
But the spider is out.
Probably should say at this point that, yes, we do have a lot of spiders in Australia. And no, we don't all like them. Some people do, I guess. But I'm aware that they live in my house because I'm sure they do. Thankfully, I do not see them ever, like hardly ever see spiders around here.
I have huntsmans a lot. As long as they stay in their part of the house and I stay in my part of the house, I don't know.
Yeah, you live outside the city. But, you know, even in the city, there's plenty of huntsmen around.
I put my electric blanket in the washing machine today, and when I got it out and, like, shook it out to put it over the line, there was a dead huntsman in there, and I was like, oh, no, I'm so sorry, buddy. So he must have been, like, in there when I put it in the wash. And now,
you can put your electric blanket in the wash?
Yeah, it's on, like, gentle cycle.
Okay. I didn't know you could do that with electric blankets.
Well,
I guess it depends on which electric blanket. But yes, it's not plugged in. No, but yes, like, also, like, do you even sell electric blankets in Queensland? It doesn't get cold enough to...
Look, I love, like, if I stay at a place that has an electric blanket, I love using electric when it's cold. So like, it's so nice to get into an already warm bed, but I do not have any in my house. Oh, we have one that, it's like a rug that you put over your knees kind of thing when you're sitting in front of the TV.
Oh, the heated throw, yeah.
Like a little one, yeah. But not on the beds. Anyway, it's a bit of a foreign concept for me as a Queenslander. But no, spiders,
I'm at
they're
work
definitely
tomorrow,
around.
But it's going to be 27, so I had to wash it today so that it'll, like, get nice and toasty tomorrow.
Right. No, what I was going to say was the reminder that this spider is just running over his bed is just such a nightmare thing. Like, no, thank you. I don't want to think about... Ugh. No.
I have a friend who had pet tarantulas. They're really finicky to keep. But yeah, she just had baby ones.
Do you have to brush them?
She didn't brush them. She had had baby ones and like you have to feed them a certain amount of time. But like we went through a heat wave and her house didn't have aircon. And it was like a 5-day heat wave and she lost all her spiders except I think one.
Oh.
And so, like, because I had stick insects at the time that I got from her. Like, she bred the stick insects and I got them from her. And
don't they come from, like, the jungles of South America? Like, aren't they?
Stick insects?
No, tarantulas.
I'm pretty sure we have tarantulas here.
I don't think they're native to... I don't think we have any native tarantulas.
We do have tarantulas. I think tarantula is just, like, a subspecies.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, because bird-eating spiders are tarantulas.
Oh, okay. Well, they're in like far north Queensland. I don't know.
Yeah, North Queensland has everything nasty. Just don't go to. Yeah.
I don't want to search for tarantulas in Australia.
She had one of the pink toed tarantulas, which are the really like fancy, expensive ones. And they're from Venezuela.
Oh, why did I Google that? No, I don't want to know.
Okay, there you go.
Apparently the one that is most often kept as a pet in Australia comes from North Queensland. So you do have tarantulas up your way.
Yeah, okay.
We don't have tarantulas down here. It's too cold for them down here.
It's
North
way too
Queensland is a long way from here, okay?
It is, yeah. It's a long
So we're
way.
like in the middle of Australia. North Queensland is the top bit and you're in the bottom bit. So
and then Bex isn't really even in Australia.
She's off the edge.
Off the edge. We had a heat wave, and I had stick insects that were from, like, so I had a stick insect that was bred by her, and then my stick insect had babies, and so I had the babies of a stick insect. And I had 3 of them, and during the heat wave they died because it was just so hot. Like, I couldn't keep them at the ideal temperature. And so they died, and I was really upset, and I messaged her, and I was just like, oh, like, I'm really sad, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, like, it's fine, it just happens. I lost all my tarantulas. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, that was hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And she lost them all because it was hot for, like, 10 days straight. Like, I'm talking, like, 40 degrees for 10 days straight.
Those poor little spideys.
Which kind
anyway,
of
I still don't want any in my bed.
So it kind of... hearing that story, it kind of makes you understand why Oren ends up calling 911. Because
they're expensive.
He hasn't heard from Perry in 2 days. And apparently from these stories that you really need to baby these spiders in order to keep them alive. Yeah.
So I don't know how they survive in the wild, honestly, but
well, they probably like don't survive as long as they do in captivity.
Also because they're underground, so they just go, like, they can go further underground if it's hot, and they can go up to the surface if it's...
Yeah.
If they're trapped in a cage, they can't get away from the heat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, yes, so Oren calls 911.
Yes, because he's been watching the Hildy app and realised that, like, the alarms are going off and Perry hasn't checked in, and his spiders desperately need to be fed.
Perry hasn't answered the phone in 2 days. Like,
he gets May, and May is like, sir, this is not a reason to call 911. Maybe you can call a pet sitter. And he's like, I did call the pet sitter. He's not answering. And May's like, oh, there's an actual human who's at risk? And Oren's like, does that make a difference?
Yeah, like, he doesn't care. He's just like, oh, if someone will go out and check my spiders.
So May dispatches LAPD for a welfare check. And they find Perry.
They find a lot of webs.
They find what they think is Perry. They can't actually tell because the entire bed that Perry was asleep in is just covered in web.
It's like someone whoever was writing this just went like full, like they just watched Lord of the Rings or something, and they were like, I know what would be really cool
Shelob.
is if we just wrap him up in webs, right? And I just don't feel like this would happen.
Well, doesn't Hen say later that tarantulas...
they make webs to store their prey.
To store their
That's
prey,
what he says.
yeah.
But
so they wrapped
do that
him
to
up
an
so they could
entire
eat.
human? Like, I don't know. Either way, it's pretty funny.
Look, I don't think that anybody
way.
did a lot of research. I mean, 911 very rarely do any research, it appears, for their episodes. But I think this one, like, very, very much, they went, oh, spiders will be cool. Did like a quick, read the first Google result that came back and ran with it. So LAPD go back to May and basically say we need backups, we need emergency, we need everybody, and so the 118 get dispatched. And I think Bobby is more scared of the spiders than Perry was.
Yeah, Bobby has to face his fear more than anyone else.
Yeah, because
it's like, you guys got this, and then he books it.
He literally just turned around and leaves. He's gone. Because Bobby's gone.
He has like the heat detector, and they managed to find a heat signature under the webs. And Hen starts cutting the web open to get to Perry, and spiders just start rushing out of the
lots of spiders. So it's not
in the web.
It's not just that one's got out. It's several. Like, what?
Well, I wondered, did that one get out and then have babies? Like, what's the...
Yeah, I thought that was
like,
what was happening.
How fast do tarantulas reproduce?
Yeah, a while. They've got to lay eggs. It's not 2 days.
But in more evidence of the people who wrote this episode really did not do any research. Bobby has Lucy standing by with the CO2 extinguisher to knock out whatever cold-blooded creatures might have spun the webs that have wrapped up Perry. Aren't cold-blooded creatures reptiles? Like,
no, spiders are cold-blooded.
spiders are cold-blooded?
All insects are cold-blooded.
Do they even
Oh, wait,
have blood?
spiders aren't insects.
No, they're arachnids. They're a completely different... Because the whole idea of cold-blooded creatures is that they can't regulate their own body temperature, so they need to go bask in the sun in order to... Like, you don't see spiders basking in the sun?
Apparently they're cold-blooded, but they don't seek out the warmth.
It's just, there's so much incorrect about this. Like I said, someone's just gone, spiders are scary, let's just have spiders.
So spiders are cold-blooded, they're not attracted to warmth, they don't get uncomfortable when it's cold, they just become less active and eventually dormant.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe, alright, so knockout, they'll get cold and they'll stop running. Yeah, okay. So maybe Bobby does know of what he speaks before he runs like a little girl. That was bad. That was terrible. I shouldn't say that, but he runs very, very fast.
He runs like a scared little person.
Yes. Although when Lucy sort of watches, like, it's almost like that sort of Scooby-Doo where he runs and then like the smoke outline of his form is still in the room and slowly dissipates. And Lucy's sort of staring at this smoke outline left next to the bed and says, like, did Cap just run away? And Hen's like, no, it was more like a fast walk. Like, he totally ran, but she's got his back. She's not going to let on that he's
It's just like the
scared.
snakes. It's the callback to the snakes in the pilot episode where Bobby was just like, you guys got this right, and just left.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
But funnily enough, he's like, so he's bad with snakes, he's bad with spiders, but he's great with cocks. So, okay, we're learning more about Robert Nash here.
Yeah.
Okay,
so they get Perry out.
By the way, Perry's okay. They get, get his face out. Jonah says that he didn't think tarantulas were that poisonous. They're not. They're actually venomous.
Yeah, I mean, they probably not
any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But Hen's like, this many bites adds up. They're also known to make webs to store their prey, and I think our guy was next on the menu.
Yes. So Jonah says...
No, he does, yeah. So Bobby says... Because Bobby called dispatch.
Yeah.
And dispatch said homeowner explicitly forbade them from entering the home till he got back from vacation, but he is happy we found some of his missing pets. So yes, some of the spiders were missing, were loose, and he just didn't bother to do anything about it.
Or is that in that Vargas and
they
LAPD
escaped their cages and they were missing.
Walked around the house and went, there are no spiders in the cages. And then when they've cut the web open, the spiders have come rushing out. They've gone, that's where your spiders went. He's gone, oh, cool, you found them. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Like I said, this scene
Anyway.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Hen's giving Bobby shit and was just like, oh, is that what you were doing out here, talking to dispatch? Nothing to do with a little undiagnosed arachnophobia? And Bobby's like, shh, busy, yeah, it's fine.
And while Hen is giving Bobby shit, they've got Perry on a gurney, and Jonah is walking with him, wheeling him out of the house. And just as he walks past Bobby and Hen, the heart rate monitor that they have on Perry flatlines. And Jonah is immediately, he's coding, gets the defibrillator out, and brings Perry back to life. And Hen's like, what the fuck just happened? He was fine a minute ago. And he's fine now, but that was really weird. And to bring it back with the theme of the episode, Bobby's like, are you sure Perry's okay now? He's like, and Jonah's like, yeah, he just gave us a scare.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Fear-o-Phobia is not mentioned once, but there's plenty of scary things going on, I guess. That's mentioned a few times.
It's such a stupid title, Fear-o-Phobia, fear of fear. But no one's... It's not... it's not fear of fear, it's fear of everything else.
Fear of just random weird stuff and like sharks.
Dolphins.
Which is also quite random. Yeah.
Maybe they could have given the dolphins some of the fish that they're now stashing in everybody's freezers, including Chimney's freezer. Because apparently Bobby sent him home with like a freeze with enough fish to fill his tiny freezer completely.
Albert is so confused. Like he says, why did Bobby give you so much fish? And Chim's like, well, they've been eating nothing but fish all week. I'm like, how much fish did they take from this place?
The whole freezer full.
The entire freezer.
Apparently.
Like it was.
Yeah.
I mean, that freezer was a walk-in freezer. It was big enough to fit a gurney in. So there must have been a shit ton of fish. So yes, everybody got goodie bags at the end of their shift to take fish home with them. But it's hilarious that Albert and Chim pack the freezer full of fish and then they end up eating ice cream for dinner because they cannot fit the tubs of ice cream in the freezer.
Yeah, they can't fit the tubs of ice
So
cream.
rather than cooking the fish and making room for the ice cream, they're just like, no, we'll just eat the ice cream. It's fine.
Fair.
Why not? And he does say, how would you feel about ice cream for dinner? And I'm like, yes, let's all eat
ice cream for dinner.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sure I know a fig about that. But then I remembered that was ice cream before dinner. Is that right? Or is it ice cream for dinner?
Ice cream before dinner.
Yeah, okay.
Close enough.
Close enough.
But yes, I thought the same thing.
While the Hahn brothers are discussing ice cream and fish and dinner, Chim is continually checking not his phone this time, but over his shoulder at the little hallway that leads to the bedrooms and the bathrooms. Because Maddie is in there with G, and they've been in there for a really long time. And he maybe should go check on them. Should he go check on them? He should go check on them. Albert says he should not go check on them. Chim says, yes, I'm going to go check on them.
You should definitely go check on them.
Because, he's got this whole fear of, the mother of his child being with his child. Yes.
Yeah, for some reason.
But before he can go and check, Maddie emerges and says that G has been changed, she has been fed, and she's now asleep. Chim's like, great, did you give her a bath? And so the only person who has anything legitimate to fear around here is Maddie, because she now has a fear of baths when it comes to G. She's like,
I was going to say, well, G at least. I think Maddie's still bathing.
Yeah, but of bathing G. She's got a fear of bathing G. She's like, oh, no, she didn't get dirty enough. We skipped the bath tonight. Like, okay. And then immediately Maddie leaves the apartment.
Yeah, she says she has an apartment to see tonight. I don't know what real estate agent is showing houses after a toddler's bedtime, but sure.
To be fair, toddlers go to bed very, very early. And perhaps if it's LA and you're working around people's shifts and work, then yeah, an agent might be willing to do viewings out of hours. But I'm pretty sure it was just an excuse to get out of there as fast as she could, so she didn't have to explain why she didn't give G a bath.
She just doesn't like ice cream, okay? It's fine.
But it was mint chocolate chip, which sounds disgusting.
I love mint chocolate chip.
I know you love mint, and I'm not surprised that you like mint chocolate chip. I remember the Christmas episode.
We've been over this.
The mint hot chocolate or whatever the fuck it was that everyone said.
Oh, that peppermint thing.
Oh,
that was
the mint
different.
latte.
Peppermint mocha.
Peppermint mocha. That's it.
Yeah.
That's a little different to mint chocolate chip though, but it's still delicious.
It's the same family.
It's
I
the
guess.
olive theory in How I Met Your Mother. One of you has to like mint and one of you doesn't, and that's basis of a strong relationship.
Right.
Even podcasting relationships.
Apparently so.
Yes. For clarity's sake, I don't like olives either.
Oh my
I love
God.
olives.
Oh, there we go.
I'm the type of person that I'll order Subway, and the veggies I'll be like extra olives, and then they'll put extra on. I'll be like no, more olives. Like, just so many
Ew.
olives.
Okay.
I think as a person of Greek ancestry, I would be excommunicated if I didn't like olives.
The only
So
time
I
I
do.
can tolerate an olive is if it's in a martini.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Is that just because you're too drunk to notice?
It
the
Pretty
needs
much,
to be
yeah.
olives?
Yes.
Pickled in.
It needs to be pickled
gin.
in vermouth and gin or vodka. Yes.
Well, she decides she doesn't want any ice cream and nopes out of there because the bath is just a bit too far.
Breaking my heart.
And other people are about to have their heart broken by
Yeah,
Buck
Maddie
this time.
Maddie is unwilling to face her fear, but it looks like Buck is trying to face his. Because while Taylor is getting ready to sit down and have dinner, she's looking for chopsticks because they're having Chinese. Buck immediately just blurts out that he kissed someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
It's not smooth.
not super tactful. Not smooth at all.
No. He tells Taylor that he kissed another woman. I mean, she kissed him, but he kissed her back, and then he realized what a mistake he was making, so he stopped, and he's sorry. He's really sorry, but he was drunk and stupid, and it didn't mean a thing, and he's really sorry.
When?
Yeah, all Taylor can ask is when, and Buck's like, when what? And apparently
When
Taylor's
were you
asking,
drunk?
What do you think, Buck? Like, what a silly question to ask. When what?
although I do love it's not like when did you kiss or when did she kiss you, it's like when were you drunk and stupid?
Yeah, when were you drunk and stupid?
And Buck's like, yeah, you remember that day that I had the big save on the freeway? We went out to celebrate and I got drunk and stupid. And Taylor's like, the day that you asked me to move in with you. The day before the day you asked me to move in with you. You were drunk and stupid and you kissed someone and then you asked me to move in with you. Was that why you asked me to move in with you? And you can say what you want about Taylor Kelly, but she is not dumb.
Oh, I love Taylor.
She's
Just in case people
immediately
listening
clocked.
hadn't noticed. Love Taylor. Big fan of Taylor. Taylor, #1 fan. Pigeon and I are basically Taylor's fan club at this point.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, so Buck says not entirely. And Taylor's like, not entirely. Oh, great. And she gets up and starts leaving. And Buck's like,
Which
hey,
is
where are you
like-
going?
Which was the whole point. Buck didn't want to tell her because he didn't want her to leave. And so
Yeah.
can you, like, poor, like, for a tiny smidgy second, I'm just going to go, poor Buck, because he has faced his fear and his greatest fear is happening right in front of him. He's truthful with Taylor and Taylor is leaving him. But when he says, like, well, where are you going? Taylor's like, I don't know. He's a bit, are you
no
going to come
idea.
back? And she's like,
And oh
Of
my god, she's like,
course.
of course. I don't have anywhere else to go. You made sure of that. And then she just leaves. And oh my god,
And now-
like,
at which point
It's
I
been
stopped
2
feeling
weeks
sorry
since
for
we've-
Buck.
yeah. Again, it was 2 weeks ago that we watched this episode. This scene has been, like, in my head since then. I don't have anywhere else to go. It's like, oh, fuck. Yep.
Good
Been
one,
there.
Buck.
But like I said, people are facing their fears and it doesn't go well for them.
Not at all.
So we go to commercial.
I don't think it's gone well for anybody so far, right?
I think, like, spoiler alert, I think the only person it actually goes well for is Maddie. Everyone else,
yeah.
it's an absolute shit show.
But that's okay, because Maddie's the important one.
Yes, we appreciate that Maddie is back, and we are glad that we're glad that she's getting some wins after, you know, last week's episode and the last several months.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to commercial, and when we come back, we're at the Gas and Sip.
Yeah,
With
for some
Ruth.
reason, we're in the supernatural
Yay!
universe.
Gas and Sip Cinematic Universe.
And it's Ruth's Gas and Sip, which I think I said last episode that Eli is, like, one of the characters that I would be happy for them to continue to bring back. I also quite like Ruth.
Yeah,
I'm quite happy
Ruth's
that they
great.
keep bringing Ruth back and her little gas and sip that keeps getting robbed because she's just great.
Oh, I don't remember her at all. What? We've seen her before?
She was in the first time that Gas and Sip was mentioned.
We had an entire episode
it's the
where we
same
talked
Gas
about
and Sip?
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I-
the same Gas and Sip.
Okay. Oh, no, I remembered we had a gas and sip before, but I didn't remember it was the same one.
No, it's the
Okay.
same one. It's like apparently there is only one Gas and Sip in Los Angeles and it's manned by Ruth.
Okay.
But anyway, to start off with, we are starting out by the petrol Bowsers where Pauline is filling up her car and a mugger approaches her and tells her to give him her purse and pulls a gun on her in order to motivate her to hand over her purse. And she just says no.
Yeah, she's not interested at all. Just like,
And he's like, lady, do you not see? I swear I will shoot you. Do you not see the gun that I'm holding at you? And she's like, yeah, how can I not see it when you're waving it around like that? But if you want the purse, you got to come get it because I'm not giving it to you. And he's completely confused by this. He's like, I don't know how to handle a situation where the person I'm trying to mug is not afraid of me. And says to her, like, do you have some kind of death wish? And Pauline says, hey, let's find out. And he lunges at her and she sprays him with petrol.
Yeah.
Great. That's a cool. That's a good way to distract him, at which point you then run. Or you head inside or try to call the police, right? No. Pauline then turns the pump on herself, douses herself in petrol, pulls out a cigarette lighter and holds it like a weapon out in front of her, threatening to spark the lighter and send both the mugger and herself up in flames. And she says, you want me to be scared? I'm not scared. Ruth sees all this on her security camera and is like, oh shit.
Ruth's scared. Ruth's like, I'm definitely scared. Hi, I'm scared.
Ruth grabs a fire extinguisher and races out to try and stop Pauline from blowing herself up and everybody
She's like,
with her.
please, I don't want my gas and sip to blow up today.
She's like, please don't take me and this entire block with you to prove a point that you are not scared of this guy. And then I think that gets through to Pauline because she's like, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. And she lowers the lighter. And the robber, fucking idiot, goes, ha, cool, I'm going to take this opportunity to grab your purse.
Fucking dumbass.
Forgetting that Pauline still has the petrol pump in her hand, so she clocks him in the face with it, knocks him out. And then apologizes to Ruth, gets in her car and drives off. The robber does the typical thing when a woman reacts in a way that a man doesn't understand and calls her a crazy bitch. And so Ruth turns the extinguisher on him. And then we get her 911 call, which is, she just sounds so done with the world. She's like, yeah, this is Ruth at San Fernando and Vineland. And the 911 dispatcher is like, hey, Ruth, you getting robbed again? And it's like, no, just of my afternoon.
Oh, bless her.
Poor Ruth.
I swear they need to give her a punch card, and every 10th 911 call she gets something free from the city.
Yeah.
But she and Athena are on first name basis at this point because Athena rolls up to find that the 147 had been dispatched and they're handling the situation by hosing off the robber. They've stripped him of his clothes. He's there in his tidy whities being hosed down with the hose from the truck.
Yeah, and it sounds really cold because he's yelping.
Yes.
And it's also very high pressure too, so
yeah, it's not going to be pleasant, but he did try to rob someone, so
yeah, he deserves it.
I don't have a lot of sympathy for him.
No.
So Athena and Ruth review the security footage to ensure that this robber, who is claiming that he was just trying to ask for directions when the crazy bitch turned the hose on him, security footage tells a different story. But Athena notices that Pauline said something to Ruth and said, "What did she say to you?" And she said, "She apologized to me."
Yeah, the wheels are turning in Athena's head with this. She's like, "Oh, I wonder what that's about."
I'm guessing they use like license plate, the security footage to find the license plate, which they then run so they get her name and they get her address, because Athena pulls up out the front of Pauline's house. Pauline is not there, but her sister, Letitia, is. And she immediately knows it's something. She immediately running out of the house to meet Athena before Athena has barely got off the footpath, because she knows that something's going wrong, because Pauline came back home reeking of petrol, took a shower, and then left again. And she's been acting weird for weeks. She's apparently been irritable, easy to set off, and as an example of that, she said that she snapped at a guy who was through a 15 items or less checkout at the supermarket, who went through with way more than 15 items. I do love this. It's like the guy who had way more than 15 items. He probably had 15 bottles of wine alone. And Athena just goes, "Yeah, he counts those as one. I know the creature."
Yeah, the fact that Athena knows him.
I don't know if Athena knows him or she just knows of the kind of person and goes, "You're like 15 bottles of wine counts as one item." So that's like wine times one, even though it's 15. But she says that then Pauline grabbed one of the bottles of wines, or grabbed the bottles of wine and smashed them at his feet and got in his face about it.
Yeah, the guy was big, he was getting in her face, and she didn't even blink. Also, her voice has got raspy and hoarse.
Yeah, they're going to do a bit of field diagnosing, I think. Although they don't really know what's wrong with her until much later. But there is a 911 call, which May picks up again, and there's someone who's going to jump.
They get multiple calls about a jumper at the recycling centre, because Linda gets a call, Josh gets a call, May gets calls. Everyone's getting calls about this jumper, except
I don't know how many people are at the recycling centre, but apparently all of the people who are there called 911.
I'm going to assume that because she's up so high, there might be people sort of driving past and they can see her up on top of the silo, and they're calling in. But just don't think too hard about it. Don't pull the thread. It's going to unravel on you. But interestingly, Josh picks up the phone and the caller says, "I'm at the recycling centre at Sadler," and Josh is immediately dismissive. "Yes, we know about the jumper. We've got it handled. You don't need to call." She's like, No. You don't understand. I am the jumper.
I am the jumper.
And then we cut to Pauline standing at the top of the recycling centre, and the camera pulls out to show exactly sort of how high up she is and how precarious her perch is. It's a cool shot.
Yeah. Apparently they send a bunch of people, Josh is sort of radioing everyone to say that the subject refuses to engage with personnel on scene. So I'm not really sure why there's so many people heading there, but the 118 is on the way. They can't get an airbag underneath where she is because there's too much stuff on the ground level. So Bobby's like, "We're going to have to get her down the hard way," but doesn't explain what that hard way actually is. He just sends Buck and Ravi off to sort that out.
Buck, go do the maneuver.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, she's on top of the things, so they can't really do the maneuver much.
I'm calling it maneuver-esque. What he ends up doing.
It is maneuver-esque. Yeah.
So Josh continues to talk to Pauline because she's not. She's not willing to talk to Athena. She's not willing to talk to Bobby or anybody on the ground, but she's still willing to talk to Josh. Where we find out that Pauline's problem is that she has no fear. She's not afraid, because Josh is like trying to talk her down. Like, I know you're afraid. And she's like, no, I'm not afraid at all. And that's not a good thing. You think it would be a good thing, because who would want to feel afraid? And Pauline says, but you don't understand how empty you feel when the fear is gone.
Yeah, I can't relate. I'm scared of everything all the time.
So while this is happening, Channel 8 News are, of course, on the scene, reporting live. It must be a very slow social media day, because Eddie is watching Channel 8 News in his little office. And I completely forgot that he was like the social media liaison.
Yeah, I thought he was
for
still
Dispatch.
At They're like, look, Eddie's still at work too, guys.
So he's watching the news. He's watching this whole thing go down. And Linda comes in to remind him to do his job. Like, you need to let people know not to go near the recycling centre, that we're closing the roads down around that area. And I don't understand that. You remember the lady from the gas and sip who almost set herself on fire, is what she says to Eddie. And like, that happened 10 minutes ago? When did Eddie find out about that? But the important thing is that Linda tells him that she has lost the ability to be afraid. And something about that inspires Eddie to pick up the walkie-talkie that is now apparently on his desk, and tune into Channel 2 so that he can hear Josh and Pauline and everything that's happening on the scene.
Yeah, who let Eddie have a walkie-talkie
Why does he need a walkie-talkie?
The last time he got involved.
Exactly, that's the other thing. So, like, Josh has already smacked him down for, stepping in and taking over a call, so why are they giving him access to the phone lines?
I just assume he's got it so that he can listen and tweet the things that he should be tweeting, not so that he can talk.
He doesn't he get that information from the dispatch?
He needs
calls?
Are busy.
Yeah, but he needs someone to oversee him. He can't just start tweeting willy-nilly. It needs to be through official channels. But, like, again, don't pull the thread. Don't think about it. It's there so that he can listen to Pauline and he can take inspiration from her words and her situation. So Josh is trying to talk to her. Buck and Ravi are climbing up the stairs, because apparently the hard way is they're literally going to pull her off the edge whenever they get up there. It's taking them a while.
Yeah, it's a little while. It takes longer than Buck climbing all the way up the top of that building.
Insert that meme of the guy climbing the ladder for 5 minutes.
Yeah. The crane, that's what I'm like, what, that thing that lifts the things?
That thing. Yeah, that thing.
Of course, the thing that lifts the things.
Crane, that's it.
But it gives us, while they're still climbing, it gives us time to go down to Hen and Athena, so that Hen can diagnose, like, it's not even just looking at Pauline, it's looking at her through a set of binoculars. She's able to diagnose her.
Yeah.
She's just real good, okay?
Apparently.
Well, Athena says that she doused herself with gasoline. Maybe that's what is sort of causing the burn-looking stuff on her skin. And Hen's like, no, it's not even an allergic reaction. But mood swings, her voice changed, blah, blah, blah. And the wheels are turning in Hen's head about that.
But I don't know how the wheels are turning.
Hen's med school stuff is finally coming to use. Remember how she was in med school?
No, but, like, okay, so this diagnosis, it's a recessive rare genetic disorder. There's only been like 400 reported cases since the 1920s. So, like, in 100 years, 400 cases. How the fuck does Hen know about this case and know about it well
because
enough?
She's in med school.
That she can look at a person
through binoculars. And through, like, secondhand symptoms, not from Pauline herself, but through Pauline's sister, through Athena, and she's able to instantly diagnose.
She's just really good, okay?
apparently, then she's wasted at the 118. She really does need to go to med school and finish med school. But she eventually gets on the radio. Pauline eventually consents to talking to Hen, and Hen tells her that she thinks that Pauline isn't crazy, that what's going on in her head isn't in her head, it is in her brain, that she has a disease that is affecting her amygdala. And the amygdala is kind of the fear center of the brain. It's like your lizard brain, which reacts to external stimuli and tells the body how to react. And yes, the symptoms of this disease include a hoarse voice and scarring on the skin and like wounds that don't heal.
And not feeling fear.
Not feeling fear. My only issue with this diagnosis, or not so much this diagnosis, but the way that
your only issue
with this particular plot line and with Pauline is that not having a sense of fear does not make you reckless and aggressive. I had a Google before about this particular like the lack of fear, and it makes people enter into situations that they really shouldn't. Like, so a robber will come up to you and try to mug you, and you won't recognize that you're being mugged, or that you're in danger, or that you should be afraid of the gun or the knife or whatever it is that they're holding out to you. It doesn't make you pistol whip them with a petrol bowser and threaten to set them on fire. Like, that's not a part of not being afraid. I don't understand that aspect of it.
Maybe she was just a naturally very aggressive person.
Apparently she was a bitch. And the fact that she's... The only thing I can think is maybe there's something else going on in her brain, and whatever has happened has hardened parts of her brain and changed her personality. But yes, so Hen is saying that it's not in your head, it's literally your brain. And you can be fixed. We can help you. And Pauline is saying, no, you can't help me. It doesn't matter if it's my brain or my head. I'm broken. And her last words are, maybe I will finally feel something on the way down. And we get this dramatic shot where she stretches her arms out and drops her phone. And I swear we spend at least 30 seconds watching this phone just plummet to the ground. And
yeah.
And then we cut back up to Pauline, and she's got her arms outstretched, and she closes her eyes, and she leans off the edge of the silo, at which point Buck, like maneuver-esque,
he pounces,
launches himself at her, wraps his arms around her waist, attaches the safety harness, and pulls her back.
It is quite dramatic.
Everybody on the ground starts clapping. Ravi, like, grabbing her feet and hauling her over the railing so that she can't, wriggle free. And we cut to Eddie sitting in his office listening to this whole thing. I do like that, and even through the whole conversation with Hen and Pauline, where she's sort of explaining her symptoms and she's explaining how her feel. And specifically, she's saying that she feels like she doesn't have fear. She doesn't feel anything. She feels empty. If she operates out of fear, like if that's how she goes through life, is acting on fear, but that the fear goes away, how she's supposed to keep acting. We keep cutting back and forth between her and Eddie. So she's talking about acting out of fear, operating out of fear, and then we're watching Eddie listen to this and resonate with it.
He's having an epiphany.
He is.
And it's unfortunately not going to go in a great way for him, but
it's
anyway,
like everybody else in this episode, it's not going to go well for him. But before we find out what happens with Eddie, we've got to go back to Maddie. Because Albert has called her. Chim is stuck downtown somewhere, and Albert is on babysitting duty, but he has to go to work, so he's called in Maddie. Like, I need you to watch your daughter.
Yeah, come be a parent.
Come parent your damn kid. Which Maddie is happy to do. Especially considering Albert's done all the hard work and put it down for a nap.
Yeah, and Albert, a little bit of a bonding session with Maddie and Albert where he's saying that he doesn't, like, he had an idea of what he thought the job would be like and it would be rewarding and everything, but he feels like he spends all day trapped inside of people's worst nightmares and he doesn't know how to pack that away when he goes home. Maddie says she never does pack it away. She always carries it with her, but alongside all the other amazing things that she did. So she helped a lot of people and she tried to remember all those things.
She says that Albert needs to find balance between carrying all of the horrible things and all of the good things that the job entails. And he says that he tells Maddie that she makes it sound so easy, confronting your fears and moving past them. Which is not really what Maddie was talking about, but we needed to bring the scene back to fear. So they're just going to wedge that sentence in there. And Maddie's gives him a high five as they leave, leaving Maddie to ponder the whole confronting your fears thing. And she sort of turns and looks warily at the little corridor that leads down to the bathroom, and we get a flashback of that day that she fell asleep while G was in the bath. She even goes into the bathroom and she's like staring down the empty bath as she remembers the last time she had G in the bath. I think it's time for Maddie to confront her fear and move past them, as Albert said. But she's not the only Buckley sibling facing her fears, because when we come back from commercial, we're back at the Buckley-Kelly apartment. And it is the Buckley-Kelly apartment because poor old Taylor has nowhere else to go.
Aww.
Poor Taylor.
Buck's got home from work and Taylor is there. She only had one change of clothes in her car, so she had to come back. Buck tries to apologise and she's like, I don't care that you kissed some random girl in a bar. I don't think I needed to know that. Like, I'm not even sure I needed to know that. But you asked me to move in with you and then you told me about it. Like, she knew that Buck was afraid of people leaving him.
She even calls him out. She's like, I know you're afraid of people leaving you, but this is
something else.
Buck's like, you think I trapped you? And Taylor's like, am I wrong?
And give Buck his due. He's like, I'm not sure that if you're wrong or not. So, like, dumb move. But there is, like, this kernel of self-awareness that he's, like, aware that what he did was dumb. He sees the stupidity. He sees where he's done wrong. Mm-hmm. He's not going to learn from this lesson, but at least he sees that there is a lesson to be learned.
So Buck says that he wants it to work, and Taylor says, me too, no more lies. And Buck's like, yeah, I swear.
Except, can we just go, like, rewind a little bit where Taylor says, I don't care that you kissed a random girl in the bar, and Buck did not correct her and say, well, actually, it wasn't a random girl in a bar, it was my new co-worker.
Yeah, I'm kind of...
she still doesn't know who it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that co-worker that I refused to talk to you about earlier, who you wanted me to give her my couch and I said she was too bold? Yeah, that one. That's who I kissed. Yeah, he doesn't tell her that. And then we get a random hen voiceover where she tells us that we are all afraid of something. Heights, snakes, small spaces. But what if the thing you fear the most is fear itself?
Yeah, the theme of this episode is a little dubious.
Yes. Phobophobia, the fear of being afraid, the terror that comes from imagining the pounding of your heart, the racing of your pulse, and the ensuing loss of control. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
I don't think that's what's happened at all. In this episode, like everyone's been afraid of things, but they weren't expecting the things to come, so...
And no one's like afraid of the fear. There are concrete things that they are afraid of. It's like somebody came up with a great idea for the episode title of like Fear-o-Phobia and fear of like being afraid of fear, and the episode being fear, and then they're trying to jam the two of them together and make them work, and it's not quite working.
Mm-hmm.
So while Hen is talking, Chim comes home. Except the apartment is dark and it's empty. The only light is the crack of light around the bathroom door. And you get like this ominous, this tension, like, oh my god, Chim's going to be confronting his fear as well, which, what fear?
Yeah. That's never really made clear, is it?
It's not Chim facing his fear. So he rushes to the bathroom and we find that Maddie has been the one to face her fear because she gave G a bath.
Yeah, and she's having a great time.
And she is now out of the bath and she is still alive and she is happy, and they are singing Incy Wincy Spider because then she can like pour water over G and make her laugh, and they're having a great time.
Yeah.
Eddie's not having a great time though, because we're then going to go to the Diaz house, where for transition reasons only, because otherwise it makes absolutely no sense, Eddie's purple star, or his Medal of Honor, is sitting on his bedside table, which he absolutely would not have out under any normal circumstances, but picks up the Medal of Honor, and we get a flashback to the helicopter crash that we saw in, or the helicopter ride that we saw in Eddie Begins. And we need that because he's going to take Frank's advice and he's going to call one of the members of his unit, and he calls Anita Mills, which was one of the members of his unit on the helicopter that day. And then we get this really inexplicable like summing up line from Hen, which is, how do you overcome your fear when what you're really afraid of is you? Which again makes no sense in any context.
It doesn't relate to what Eddie's doing at all.
Eddie's not afraid of himself.
No.
And Eddie's not afraid of being afraid. Nobody in this episode has been afraid of themselves or been afraid. Maddie's probably been afraid of herself. But it might, like, I could agree that it applies to her, but it doesn't apply to anybody else. Like, anyway. That's not important. I just mentioned that for weird voices. I can tick the box. Yes, we've covered the weird voiceover. So Eddie calls Mills. The next thing we see is Chris in his room playing some kind of Call of Duty game. But over the sounds of gunfire and the battle that he's playing, we hear thumping and glass breaking and Eddie screaming. And Chris is like, what the fuck is going on? And so he makes his way to his dad's room as fast as he can. He's knocking on his dad's door, and he can hear Eddie yelling, and he can hear stuff breaking, but Eddie's not answering, and Eddie's not opening the door. So then we cut back to the Buckley Kelly apartment where Buck's phone is ringing. And he picks it up and he sees that it's Chris. And he gets this big grin on his face when he sees that Chris is calling him. And it's so sweet. He's so happy that Chris is calling him. He's like, hey, Chris.
He's like, finally, someone who's not going to hate me.
But then all Buck hears is Eddie losing his shit on the other end of the phone and Chris panicking and calling for his dad. And when Chris finally realizes that Buck's picked up the phone, he's like, Buck, there is something wrong with Dad. And Buck immediately drops the phone, grabs his keys, and moves. Doesn't even hesitate. Doesn't ask any questions. He's like, my kid needs me. Eddie needs me. I'm gone.
Yeah.
So races over, checks to make sure that Chris is okay. Then tries to get Eddie to open the door. Eddie won't open the door, and the door is locked. So he rams the door open with his shoulder, like he breaks down the door. Yeah. I do kind of wish he'd kicked, just because I'm worried about his like collarbone and like shoulder dislocation. Like, ouch. It's much safer if he kicks the door in than if he rams it with his shoulder, but it's much more impressive to watch him like run into the door with his shoulder and come bursting through. I would still argue that it would be pretty impressive just to watch him kick the door open. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just having mental images of that story of Jensen when he like kicked the shit out of the hotel door because the lock wouldn't work.
Oh.
Yes. Anyway, he gets through the door and Betty's room has been destroyed. There are holes in the walls. The curtains are like askew on their frame. The lamp is sideways. The mattress is not on the bed frame. But he can't find Eddie. And he has to be in there somewhere because he can't, like, the door was locked. Buck has had to break through the door to get in there, and the windows are not open, so Eddie's somewhere in the room. But I think there's that slight panic of, like, he's calling for Eddie and Eddie is not answering. He's like, shit, what the fuck has Eddie done to himself?
Yeah.
But thankfully, he is there. It takes a second, but then Buck can hear him crying. And then he finds him, like, huddled at the end of his bed, like, knees pulled up to his chest, like, hugging this baseball bat. Because at some point he stopped punching shit and he just grabbed a baseball bat and went to town on the room. And we know that he was punching shit because his knuckles were all bloodied. Mm-hmm. And Buck is like, what is going on? And Eddie's just sobbing, they're all dead. They're all dead, they're all dead, they're all dead, they're all dead.
Poor Eddie. He's such a pretty crier, though.
I know.
God damn him.
It's a horrible scene, but Ryan does it so well, and he just looks so pretty when he cries.
Yeah. Oh, it's heartbreaking. But Buck does manage to like talk him out of the room, so he goes into the living room. He's like, make sure that Chris is okay. Sorry, Buck makes sure that Chris is okay. And
yes.
He comes back to kind of calm Eddie down again. But yeah, he explains what's going on.
He explains that his like homework from therapy was to reach out to the members of his unit. And so he did that. But they are all dead. He pulled 4 people out of the helicopter that day. One of them died in active duty. One of them died in a car crash. One of them OD'd. And Mills, the one that we saw him try to call, shot herself.
Mm.
And so Eddie is spiraling because I think everything that he went through, it was okay because he'd saved them. Didn't matter what had happened to him, didn't matter how he felt, he saved them. But he didn't really save them because they're all dead. And like it's the guilt as well, because he tells Buck that he kind of lost touch with them. He hadn't talked to any of them since he moved to LA. And in the intervening years, life has happened, PTSD has happened. But I'm 100% certain that the logic in Edmundo's brain is, if I had just kept in touch with them, if I had reached out before, if I had been there, I could have saved all of them. But I left them, and now they're all dead, and it's all my fault.
He's very broken.
He is incredibly broken.
He's afraid. So that's what he says.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, he's afraid. Buck asks him, is that why you took a baseball bat to everything you own? Because everyone died. And Eddie says, no, I took a baseball bat to everything I own because I'm afraid. Which, that's on theme for the episode. Cool. What are you afraid of, Edmundo? That I'm never going to feel normal again.
Maybe that's the only fear that actually makes any sense in this whole episode.
Maybe. Yeah. And that's where we end. We end on Eddie losing his shit and trauma dumping on Buck.
I totally forgot that this was that episode.
Yes.
Because, like, it seems like it's going to end, and it's just like, oh, Maddie and G in the bar, that's so cute. And then that happens. I'm like, oh, that's right.
And we get Hen's voiceover, and the voiceover is usually, like, the ending montage. Like, that's the end of the episode. And they're like, no, we've got one more trauma that we need to put you through first.
Yeah, and then we left the two of them sobbing in the lounge room for 2 weeks. Now
well, at least nobody's bleeding.
And it's going to be another week before we let them move on. At least it wasn't my fault this time.
And nobody's bleeding out.
Nobody was bleeding out.
Nobody's bleeding out. But like it's a horrible scene, even though Ryan does it so well and he looks so pretty crying. But it's also like the buddy crumbs of it all. You know, the way Buck immediately drops everything when Chris calls, the way that he's able to get through to Eddie even when his own son can't get through to him.
Yeah, it's a great scene. Like I think, like the way it's made is a really well put together scene. I like it. Yes. I like the way they did it. Gosh, well, I hope he goes back and does some more therapy after this.
Frank's like, yeah, remember how I told you to read? That was my bad. My bad. Oops, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, wasn't expecting that outcome.
This is why Eddie needs to be getting therapy through the VA. Because they would have a better idea that, you know, shit happens once you come home. And it's not always going to be as easy as, let's just meet up for drinks. Because everybody's going to be going through the same shit, just slightly differently. Because, for a little bit I was going like, that was terrible advice, Frank. And actually, no, it wasn't bad advice. He had no way of knowing that this was going to be the response that it was going to have to that advice. He had no way of knowing that the unit was all dead. He had no way of knowing that it was going to affect Eddie that way. But yes, having a look at this summary for next week, he does go back to therapy.
Yay!
Oh, good. Okay, what's happening next week then? Next
week, it is actually the 118 this week, not the 126. So I'm glad that they got their numbers straight.
Okay, that's good.
The members of the 118 race into action when a woman falls over her penthouse balcony. Meanwhile, Athena investigates when a bike rider is impaled on a stop sign. Really, that gets mentioned in the summary? That's like such a non-starter storyline. Yep. Eddie begins therapy for his PTSD and survivor's guilt. And Maddie fears the worst when Ji-yoon falls ill. And next week's episode is called Dumb Luck. As well as therapy, which is a trigger that I'm sure we're going to need because Eddie is going to go back to therapy, continue therapy, start therapy, I don't know. We are also going to have depiction of a car accident, of car versus pedestrian, depictions of claustrophobia, dangerous driving, depression, discussion of childhood cancer. I'm guessing that's a Daniel reference. Discussions of postpartum depression, falling from a great height, flashbacks to gun violence, flashbacks to drowning, and PTSD.
Sounds like another heavy one.
It's kind of not, though, from memory.
I don't remember it, honestly.
I remember the woman falling over the balcony storyline. I remember that part of the story, and I remember the Ji-yoon part of the story. I don't remember what happens with Eddie or anybody else.
I'm trying to think about what I actually thought of this episode, but I watched it so long ago, and even though now we've spoken about it, I'm just like, that was an episode. It happened.
I think like the highlight of this episode is unfortunately Eddie's breakdown.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one sort of decent thing that comes out of this episode. The rest of it is sort of completely hit and miss.
Like, I was so excited that Maddie and Chim were back, and then having them actually broken up and not together at all in this. Like, even Chim isn't that involved with the emergencies even. Like, it was a bit of a letdown on that front, I guess.
But I'm sure I said when we were discussing kind of in the Boston episode, and I sort of flagged that it's not all sunshine and roses from the straight away. Like, I know we made a big deal about the fact that Maddie is forced to get over her trauma super quick, but they don't bounce back immediately. So, you know, Chim can't come back to the 118 straight away because he's still got to parent his kid, because Maddie doesn't have anywhere to stay. Maddie can't go back to work because she quit and she's got to beg for her job back. And I think it's super realistic that their relationship is kind of on the rocks after everything that they've been through. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, after not having Maddie for months, it is kind of sad that we're still just getting crumbs, but
it's okay. Let her ease back into work.
Yeah,
they're back now, and that's good. It feels more whole again now that everyone's back, and even if they are all at odds at the moment.
We just need to get Chim back to work, and then we need to get Eddie back to the 118 and get rid of Lucy and get rid of Jonah, and then we'll all be one big happy family again.
Yeah. I'm a bit worried about what's coming because it's never that easy. Let us know what you thought of this episode. You can leave us a comment on thatweewooshow.com or in Spotify or on YouTube, or send us a message on social media, however you'd like to get in touch with us.
Send us a carrier pigeon. We're pretty flexible.
Message in a bottle. Smoke signals.
That's it. Smoke signals.
It might take us a while to get back to you, but sure.
Hey, it takes us a while just to record an episode at the moment. So.
Yeah, well, hopefully that we'll get back on that and we'll get all the way through season 5. We don't have that many episodes to go. Am I making that up?
5? What is it? Is it an 18 episode season or a 20 episode season?
Surely it's 18. Surely not
20. We have 18 episodes. So we've got 5 episodes to go.
Wow.
Oh, we're so close to the worst season ever.
You're making me so looking forward to season 6. We're going to have to do something, change up our format for season 6, I think, to
alcohol.
Get through it.
Alcohol.
Coping strategies.
Every episode becomes a drinking game.
Maybe. Send us your suggestions to how we will get through season 6, but we're not quite there yet.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Season 6 is not good, but watching it concurrently with season 9, I am gonna love season 6.
Oh no. Thank you so much for listening to us ramble this week. And we will see you next time. We're going to talk about episode 14 in season 5, which is called Dumb Luck. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
911 is a fictional show, but many of the situations portrayed happen in the real world too. If any of the topics we've discussed in this episode have affected you, please know you're not alone. You can call or text numbers in your country for help. Just Google crisis support in your location to find out the number. If you enjoy our podcast, you can help us out by leaving us a review on Spotify or your preferred listening app, and by sharing our social media posts. Find out more at thatweewooshow.com. This is good. This week I was like, I missed you listening to your voices because I normally have you sharing my workday with me, like when I'm editing and stuff. And I'm like, oh. So instead I was watching Firefly because you know how they're having a new animated series coming out as when they find somewhere to actually make it.
Oh, is that what the big announcement was? It's an animated series.
It's an animated series, yeah. But they don't actually have anyone to do it with. So
they're trying to get everyone. They're
basically,
trying to build
the cast want to
so
do it.
Someone,
yeah.
Okay,
I hope it does get picked up.
I'm slightly more hopeful then because I didn't actually want a reboot. If it's a reboot,
yeah, like everyone's
an
so
animated
much older
series.
now.
Well, apparently it's. Oh, from what I heard, like everyone was thinking, like, okay, continuation. Oh, that'll be sad. They won't have Wash there.
No Wash.
But it's not. It's apparently it's like a midquel, so it's between where the series ends and like Serenity movie. I'm like, that's
So
really
that means we can
weird.
get Alan Tudyk back, so there will be Wash.
Yeah.
Yes.
As
Yeah.
long as Joss Whedon's not involved, I think
They've said
I will
he's
be
not.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope
Okay,
not,
then
but
cool.
It was funny because
I'm-
then I remembered that as I was watching it and Tim Minier's name came up and I was like, oh, that's right. He was involved in this. And then
Yes.
one of the episodes is written by Ben Edlund. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
Just all of the shows are just written by 5 people.
Yeah.
like the best episode was written by Ben Edlund.
It's just so much of it is so great. Like it's been ages since I watched it and I'm watching through going, oh, I forgot how great this dialogue is and everything. The actors are just so, they got such great chemistry, all of them.
Yes.
It's just brilliant. Worst show ever to get cancelled.
But I think that's why it's so good, because it got killed off too early before Joss could run it to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, Buffy was great for a lot of seasons. So, I don't know. I mean, I didn't ever finish watching the last season because it was just all so depressing and I was just like, I don't want to know how this ends because it's sad. It's making me sad.
It ended well, but yeah, the last season was weird.
Anyway, I'm not finished watching Firefly yet, so that's the rest of this week. I'll do that.
I
next
finally
week.
started season 2 of Yellow Jackets today.
Yes.
How many seasons has that got?
There's 3
there's-
and then the 4th is about to air.
Okay.
Yes.
Um,
I don't think I finished season 2. I need to go back and double check.
I watched the first season. Like, I finished the first season a couple of weeks ago, or like a week and a bit ago. But then last week was when the girls, like the dogs, went missing, and I was like, I'm not watching Yellow Jackets right now.
Mm.
And so now that they're home and safe, I'm like, okay, I'll start. And it was so cold today. So I'm like sitting on the couch, bundled up in a blanket, shivering, and they're like trying to survive the winter. And I'm like, yes, I relate to this. And then they're like, it was 21 degrees, mind you. Like,
You're sitting there in a blanket, shivering, and poor Jackie is just out there by the fire.
she was out there in the fire. It was season 2. And so, yeah, I'm like shivering in a blanket and I'm like, yes, I relate to this. And then they're like, oh my God, we're so hungry. And I'm like, yes, I haven't had lunch. I also relate to this.
Oh no.